with a recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha by Mustafa.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
على محمد وآل محمد. Excellent job, Baba.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد لقد خلقنا الإنسان في كبد أيحسب أن لن يقدر عليه أحد يقول أهلكت مالا لبدا أيحسب أن لم يره أحد ألم نجعل له عينين ولسانا وشفتين وهديناه النجتين فلاقتحم العقبة وما أدراك ما العقبة فك رقبة أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسربة يتيما ذا مطربة أو مسكينا ذا متربة ثم كان من الذين آمنوا وتواصوا بالصبر وتواصوا بالمرحمة أولئك أصحاب الميمنة والذين كفروا بآياتنا هم أصحاب المشأمة عليهم نار مؤصدة صدق الله العلي العظيم.
يلا يا ماما جيب الجنب اطلع ها حبيبي.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. القارعة ما القارعة وما أدراك ما القارعة يوم يكون الناس كالفراش المبثوث وتكون الجبال كالإحن المنفوش فأما من ثقلت موازينه فأما من خفت موازينه فأمه هاوية وما أدراك ما هي نار حامية صدق الله العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Can we get another loud salawat for the beautiful recitations? So as we mentioned, if the parents could lead their children to the upstairs for the children's program, that would be great, inshallah. So without further, actually before we turn it over, just a couple of announcements that we have for some of the upcoming programs, because we see some new faces here, so we're always very happy to see that, and inshallah we can continue to see all of you here at our masjid, your masjid. This Friday is actually a Friday youth night. So inshallah, we would love to see the youth this Friday. May 13th, sorry? Starts at 8 p.m. with congregation salah, and I believe Seyed Abbas is there. You're there, is here as well. So this Friday, 8 p.m. youth night with Seyed Abbas and another brother Ali Bughaida. On May 13th, we're very excited also. We have an Islamic will writing workshop. It will be by Sayyid Ali, who's flying in to give that workshop for an Islamic will writing workshop. That's this Saturday, May 13th. And please register so we know how many people are coming and we can accommodate everybody. All of this information is in our email, by the way. And on May 14th, there is a book review session with Haj Kawthar Khan here at Yasin as well. So please join us for that if you would like. And then on June 4th, more to come on this. There'll be a Quran memorization group, a Quran hifz group, inshallah. And then on June 9th to the 11th, we're having our annual Camp Karama. So you can also please join us for that as well. And there's more if you would like more information, please see myself or any of the volunteers. And without further ado, I'd like to one more announcement.
Tomorrow night there'll be a Hiyad for brothers 10 o'clock first.
Here? Yes. Okay. So Saturday night there's actually also a program for the adolescents, or for the young men. So for the young men, what age group is it? Yeah. So the young men in general, inshallah. Saturday night is a Hiyat group for that, and Sayyid Abbas will also be there as well. Okay. So it'll be you can give a little bit more information about that too. I think you know a little bit more than I do about that. Okay. So inshallah, just Friday night youth group, Saturday night Hiyat group, brothers Hiyat group. And then let's welcome Seyed Abbas Razavian with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. Tonight's speech is dedicated for the soul of dear marhum, father of Shaheed Haj Agha Abdullah Mawahideen. And we send our condolences to especially his daughter, Haj Khanum Tahireh, Khanum Tehrani, and to our dear brother Ali Tehrani and all the family members that of Haj Agha Mawahideen. We ask, inshallah, Allah bless his soul and give him mercy and give him, inshallah, companionship of the infallibles Please salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Watching for Before we begin this Surah Al-Fatiha and the 3 Surah Al-Tawheed. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله الصمد لم يلد بسم الله الرحمن Our discussions were about the Day of Judgment, and we reached the account, Al-Hisab. And when we see that when somebody loses their father or their grandfather, and we see, how important, and those that, their fathers or grandfathers are alive, you see how important it is serving them, and how important it is not only when they're alive, when they have passed away, that also you serve them and you do good actions for them. You remember them. You give them gifts. These are very important things. We said in the tradition that some people, their parents are very happy about them when they are alive. But after they pass away, they say that my children didn't do anything for me. They didn't recite Quran for me. They didn't give sadaqah for me. So therefore they become upset with them. Because every day, those that are in the grave, those that are buried, every day they call out and they want action. They want something. Because we said that is the purpose of barzakh. That is the purpose of purgatory. We can say that. Because God has given us, He didn't make us all die at once. Some leave earlier. So their descendants, their children, their grandchildren, they can do things for them. They can help them. If they have things that they owe, if they have salat, if they have hajj, anything, for example, that you can help them. Because serving the father is very important. When you look at the narration from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he who desires that Allah will save him from agonies of death must regard his relatives and treat his parents obediently. If you want to be freed from the pains of death, the agonies of death, obey your parents. Or we have the tradition from Ibrahim ibn Shu'aib, from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, that he said, I used to carry my aged and weak father, and when he wanted to relieve himself, I would carry him. I was at his service. And the Imam commented, if you can do more than this, you must do it. This is not, don't think that you're doing everything for him. Even if you're carrying him to help him, if you can do more, do more. And then the Imam says, because he will guard you from the hell. Your father will guard you from hellfire. So we see that one of the best ways, and I especially tell the youth, to respect the parents, respect your fathers especially. Because your fathers, your mothers, have a big impact in your futures. If you make them happy, you will have a good life in this world. If you make them happy, you will have a good life in the hereafter. So remembering parents, especially fathers, and especially this marhum, this is very important for us and is one of our duties. Brothers and sisters, we're talking about the Day of Judgment. We're talking about Al-Hisab, the account. We said that things are much different. We said that we will all die, we will go to the grave. Then Israfil will blow and the trumpet will be blown and completely everyone will die, and then he'll blow again on the horn and everyone will become alive again. That time there will be mahshar. It will be the day that everyone will be gathering and everyone will be looking for shade. And there are different manazil and different places that we are questioned in different positions in the Day of Judgment, some of them lasting 1,000 years. Then we said we will be gained our book of action, and it's not a book that you read. It is presented, our actions are hadir, our actions are played again, our actions are present. Every small action, every large action will be played again, will be shown again. Then it will be time for hisab, the reckoning. It will be time for accounting. When you look at one of the names of Allah, one of His names is Hasib, the one who will account for us. He will account for the actions we do, and He will account for the intentions that we had. So we see that everything will be accounted for, just like in this world. Let me ask you something. Do you believe in chance? Do Muslims believe in chance? No, we do not believe in chance. We do not believe in randomness, something just happening. We believe that everything that happens for a purpose. Even if a rock hits my toe, even if, for example, a nightmare I have, anything that happens, it has a relationship with my action, with my future, with something about me. If you were to say there's just randomness and chaos and things just happen, then you're saying that God does things without wisdom. And He's not the wise Lord. Everything that happens from Al-Hakim, the wise, happens for a purpose. And the hereafter is in the same way. This dunya and world is in the same way. But it doesn't mean that you can blame others and say, look, if something terrible happened to you, that you must have been bad. That is wrong. But when something happens to me, I understand there is purpose of it, and I try to think about it. What happened? Is this a wake-up call for me? Or is this, for example, a good sign for me? Look at some of the narrations. The narrations had, إِنَّ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى يُطَهِّرُ شِيعَتَنَا مِنْ ذُنُوبِهِمْ فِي الدُّنْيَا بِمَا يُبْتَلِيَهُمْ بِهِ مِنَ الْمِحَنِ. Allah purifies the Shia. Allah purifies the followers of Ali Muhammad. Why? So in order, when they have tests, in tribulations, in difficulties, Allah purifies them. The same way will be the Day of Judgment. The Day of Judgment and the Hisab will be in the same way. Some ask this question. Why is it that Allah is Sarihul Hisab? He will account very fast. He's known for accounting very fast for the actions of people. But why is it that the Day of Judgment and the accounting will take so long? Let's look into this. We have narrations from Imam Ali alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajal fajr. So in the narration we have that actually the actions and the hisab that happens will happen all at once. And this will be happen, the narration is yuhasibul khalq daf'atan. Immediately people will be accounted for. Immediately. It's at one time. كَمَا يَرْزُقُهُ دَفْعَةً. Just how Allah gives people the rizq immediately, fast. He gives the rizq in this world immediately. He's always giving everyone the rizq. It doesn't take long. In the hereafter, the hisab will also happen. But what takes a long time is the effects of those actions. What takes a long time is to be reviewed so that not you or brothers that are doing bad deeds or sisters that are doing bad deeds, that these actions will be accounted for, reviewed, and the effects of that will show. So that hopefully they can go to the Day of Judgment. There's a story from one of the Imams, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, that Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. That there are two groups of people, two types of people. One was a poor person, one was a rich person. And they both reached the Day of Judgment at the same time, or they will reach the Day of Judgment at the same time. The rich didn't have any accountability much because he says, I never had money to be asked about. I didn't have it. I didn't have power, position to see if I was just or not. I didn't have anything. So the tradition is go. Basically, that poor person, Sadaqa Abdi, he's telling the truth, let him go to heaven. Very quickly he goes into heaven. He was poor. They're both going to heaven. But then the rich person, it took him a very long time. It took him to question him and to see what actions he has done. So they see each other, and later on, and he sees him in heaven, but he can't recognize him even though he just saw him before. And because the poor person had changed because of the blessings of ni'mah, I don't know if it's the fruits of paradise they had or whatever happened, that they had blessings and he looked differently. And you see that that person that was rich, it took him a long time. Why? Not necessarily because being rich is something that is bad. What happens is that you, for example, Imam Ali alayhi salam had lots of money after the Khilafat, after the usurpation of the Khilafat, when he was farming and when he had wells, he had a lot of income. But he didn't spend that. He spent it in the right way. Making yourself, looking for to income. There's no problem with that. That's something good. But where you spend it, that's where the hisab is. Why did you spend it? Like any ni'mah we have, when you have extra time, when you have, say, intelligence, when you have creativity, imagination, any power, any skill that you have, you can be asked in the day of judgment, why didn't you spend it in Allah's path? So therefore, we see that the day of judgment, when it comes to hisab, it happens immediately. But what we mean is that that person has to wait and wait and wait. And this is, in a way, some of their punishments to go to wait. You yourself, you were waited maybe for things that took a long time, for example. Maybe somebody's flight got canceled. They had to wait at the airport. Then they tried to find another flight and he's being tortured. So in the day of judgment, that's part of the plan. That's part of the torture, is because of their actions, they will be delayed. But some that were pious, some that were good, some that they never harmed people, they had huquq law. You see, in reality, they performed the rights of Allah. You see that what happens to them is they'll go very fast. The day of judgment, the hour has other characteristics. One of the other characteristics is that it is very close. Quran mentions the hour, the hisab, being very close for us. As you have in Quran, اقترب للناس حسابهم وهم في غفلة معرضون. Very close, it is approaching, and close is the day that we will be accounted for, all of us. وهم في غفلة, but people are neglecting it as if it doesn't happen, or as if it's going to happen very far, but it's very close for us. Actually, Quran says, mu'radun, they have turned away from this. They turned their backs. When we actually think of it, and you look at how close the day of judgment is for us, that every day that you are living, and every day or every year you become old, yeah, just becoming closer and closer to your hisab. So, congratulations to that person that really feels that closeness to the day of reckoning. And every day they live, they're living in a way that they know they will be accounted for. They'll not harm anyone. They'll not hurt anyone. They'll be very careful for the rights of people. They'll be very careful when it comes to their salat and siyam and obligations and their homes, for example. Because they live life because they know they will be questioned about it. Is this something that I say that is not in the Holy Book? Are there not so many narrations about this? So the first thing is the hour, the day of judgment, and the hisab, the accounting is very close for us. The second characteristic is that there will be diqqah. It'll be very exact. When we see in the Quran, it mentions a mithqala habbatin min khardal, even a mustard seed, a seed of action, a seed of effect. This will be accounted for. Everything that we do will be accounted for. That there's no running away in the day of judgment. No, lying, for example, or looking for people that will witness those actions for them not to be present. Because that day, the judge, hakim, the one that will judge us, is also the shahid, is also the witness. So we see it will be exact. And the last thing that we can say tonight about the day, the hour, or the actions, is that in reality too, that not only is it close, not only is it daqiq, but also you see that in the day of judgment, you see that there are different effects and different things that will happen. And of them is that the day there will be some that will have an easy hisab. Some, because of the way that they act, do not to be afraid that some will have their accountability or their actions that are going to be measured and reviewed. It will be easy for them. As we have in the dua, Allahumma amilna bifadlik, wa la tu'amilna bi'adlik. Oh Allah, treat me with your fadl. Don't treat me with your justice. Because if it's just the justice of Allah, then it's going to be very strict. But if it's with His fadl, then it's going to be very, inshallah, Allah will be very generous to us, and hopefully we'll pass very fast. When you look at one of the best deeds that will be asked about, and they'll ask us about in the Day of Judgment, one of them is salat. Because Imam Sadiq's shahadat is coming this 25th of Shawwal, I want to mention a few things about the Holy Imam, the last part of the speech, and to mention one of the hadith about one of the most important things that we will be asked when we say hisab. One is salat. We have in the tradition, if this salat is accepted, then the rest will be accepted. One of the first things that they will look at is our prayer. Do we pray all the time? Do I pray only, say, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and forget Tuesdays and Thursdays? Do I pray when I'm at home, but I forget to pray when I'm on vacation? Do I not pray when I'm in the plane or, for example, at the airport? I have to make sure that I'm one of those that is, yuqimuna salat, those that establish the prayer. And most importantly, I have to make sure I am those that Allah will accept His prayer. How do we know if our salat is accepted? They came to Ayatollah Burujerdi, great marja, great scholar. The power plant that they had in Qom, they said he built. Hundreds of students that he had. Today, we have some of the students living maraja we have today are the students of Ayatollah Uzma Burujerdi. He has representatives that he sent to Germany back then. He sent representatives to North America back then. Many great actions. And they come to him and they say that he is very concerned, that he is very worried, that he is in a way saying, I have done nothing. And they ask him, why are you worried? You did so much khidmah. You were a marja taqlid. You were the head jurist. There was probably a time where everyone followed Ayatollah Burujerdi. He was the marja al-itlaq. And he remembered this narration and said, أخلص العمل فإن الناقد بصير. Make your actions sincere because the reviewer of those actions sees. He knows the intention. And if God forbid that intention has a little bit of someone else, there's something else in that intention, then Allah will not accept it. He is khayru sharik. He will say, let the other partners have it. I don't want to accept it anymore. I don't want the reward. I'm the best partner. Have the other partners have it. So when you look at the lives of the greats, you not only look at, say, how much action, but mostly they're looking at the sincerity and maqbuliyat of action. Is this action accepted or not? So they're so careful. They tell them, look, you have so many good actions, but he says, how do I know if it's accepted? So tonight, we're going to remember Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, one of our great imams that had the ability and time to teach so many individuals. It was a shift from the Umayyads and the Abbasids which gave him the chance to teach. And we're going to learn this hadith from him about what can we do that our salat is accepted. How do we know if our salat is accepted? This piece of advice from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Let's recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let me say one thing about Imam Sadiq before we begin. Malik ibn Anas, there's different schools of different madhabs we have, different schools of thought. Malik ibn Anas is recorded to be one of the greats of the Sunnis, one of the great jurists of the Sunnis. And they say themselves, even Shafi'i is quoted to say, when scholars are mentioned, Malik is the star. From Sunni Islam, one of the greatest jurists is Malik. And Malik says about Imam Sadiq, ما رأت عين ولا سمعت أذن ولا خطر على قلب بشر أفضل من جعفر ابن محمد الصادق اللهم صل على محمد وعلى. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. It hasn't passed the heart of any human more virtuous than Ja'far ibn Muhammad, the head jurist of the Sunnis. And where Tahdhib al-Tahdhib of Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, one of the great commentators of Sahih Bukhari, is Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. Ilman wa ibadatan wa wara'an. He is the best in knowledge, he is the best in worship, and he is the best in piety. They deserved imamat. Allah knows where to place his imamat. Unfortunately for them, they did not take their narrations from Imam Sadiq. Very few. From Imam Baqir, very few. From Ali ibn Hussein, very few. From Husayn ibn Ali, very few. From Imam Hassan, very few. From Imam Ali alayhi salam, very few. But from other narrators, from Abu Huraira, who only met the Prophet a few years, thousands of hadith, for example. From others, for example, I'm not going to mention today, thousands of hadith that they did not take their religion from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Tonight that we are here as lovers of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, and we'll be crying for him soon in the 25th of Shawwal, know that even Ahlul Sunnah say that he was the greatest of all. And therefore our question is then, if he was the greatest of all, and he taught so many, why isn't Bukhari and Muslim filled with the narrations of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam? But instead you have others that are filled, that we say that you should learn from Imam Sadiq. This narration we have from Imam Sadiq. This is what they missed out. This narration, how do you know if your salat is accepted? 3 conditions I'm going to mention tonight. There's a few. 3 conditions. يا ابن جندب قال الله عز وجل في بعد ما أوحى إنما أقبل الصلاة ممن يتواضع لعظمتي. The first. How do you know if your salat is accepted? I will only accept the prayers of him who humiliates himself, or he lowers himself, humbles himself before my greatness. First condition that your salat is accepted. I'm telling myself, don't think that my salat is accepted. I don't know. I'm in the worst case. If you are humble, look at your heart. If you are humble to the greatness of Allah, then know that your salat is accepted. Know that who you are worshiping. Look at your lives. Are people more important? Do you humble yourself to people and family more, or to Allah? Do you listen more to your boss, listen more to your family, or do you listen to Allah? Look who has the most effect in your life. Is it the commands of humans, or is it the commands of your Lord? Are you an abd of God or not? Is your entire concern that what happens if, God forbid, I break one of his commands? Know that your salat is accepted. Because it's running on late. The first condition is a person whose salat, إِنَّمَا أَقْبَلُ الصَّلَاةِ مِمَّنْ يَتَوَاضَعُ لِعَظَمَتِي. The person that humbles himself before me. And that's what we're looking for, and that's the trait we're trying to build as students of Imam Sadiq. That we have khushu', we have fear of Allah. That the khalaiq is not scary for us. The creation is not scary for us. I have khushu' and fear from Allah. In reality, I have fear of my own actions. The second condition, let's see if I have it So inshallah, on the day of judgment, they will come and look at our actions and say, it's accepted, maqbool, go, hurry up. Get out of here. What are you doing? Get out of here. Go to heaven. وَيُكُفُّ نَفْسَهُ عَنِ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنْ أَجْلِي. Narration is from Allah. And whoever abstains from his shahawat, from his lust, لِأَجْلِي, because of me, he stays away from his lower desires. He wants something. Everyone has wants, desires. But because of Allah, he says, no, that's haram. No, I don't want to do this. They're young. Sometimes they go out with their friends. And their friends are ordering things that are haram. This is haram meat. He wants to have it too. There's a college student, high school student. But he says, look, because of Allah, I'm going to fight against my shahawat. And this meat is haram. I'm not going to have it. I'm going to have the same old fish burger or same old shrimp that I've been eating over and over and over. But because of Allah, I'm going to, become, vegetarian when I go outside. Or when it comes to different things that are haram, you give up. Allah wants you to sacrifice for Him. How much do you give for Allah? Is Islam always in a way that it just benefits you and helps you gain dunya? Or is it in a way that I'm sacrificing what I have to attain Ridwanullah? Because that is sweeter for me. That is more beautiful to me than all the blessings of this world. I'm looking to worship Allah, that when you give, and you'll notice this, I am not a person that does this, but when you give of things that you actually love, then you'll see that true love of God come in your heart. You'll see that salat come. You see that worship come. But if it's always about selfishness and you can never fight against the lower desires, then you won't have that sweetness of faith. That sweetness of faith comes from a heart that doesn't have al-aqyar in it, others in it. The last thing that we'll say, وَيَقْتَعُ نَهَارَهُ بِالذِّكْرِ. I accept the salat of that person who ends his day remembering me. His day was remembering Allah. He wakes up, he goes to work, but it's for Allah. He wakes up, he studies, it's for Allah. He wakes up or she wakes up, it's for family. It is all for God, because Allah, you want me to be kind to my family. Allah, you want me to work. You want me to get rizq myself. Yes, you want all of this. But the entire day I'm remembering you. I'm living with you. I don't only remember Him in salat. I say this to myself. If I'm always forgetting Allah throughout the entire day, when it comes to salat, I'll forget Him as well. But if you're remembering Him from the beginning of the day to the end, then when it comes to salat, you will maximize your remembrance. That is the best time to remember. So the third is that person that lives his or her life in a way they're always with Allah. وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. He is with you wherever you are. You always feel you're with Him. You always feel that you're living for Him. There's the last other things, and this completes. It is helping others. And we see in this last part, وَيُطْعِمُ الْجَائِعِ وَيَكْسُ الْعَارِ. And the one who feeds the hungry, the one who gives clothes to those that are clothesless. وَيَرْحَمُ الْمُصَابِ. And gives compassion to the afflicted. Somebody is afflicted, he gives them compassion. He gives them energy, positive energy. وَيُؤْوِي الْغَرِيبِ. And finds a place for the estranged. The person that felt sad, felt really in a way that they have to help Allah's creation. Allah will accept their salah. So you see, the first three is about our relationship with God. Fearing Allah, the azamat of God, being humble towards God, number one. And number two, that you see that you fight against your lower desires for Allah. And number three, you remember Him throughout the day. And the fourth, fifth, sixth are about how you treat others and take care of others. Hopefully then, Allah will accept our salat. And if salat is accepted, inshallah, the other things will be accepted as well. May Allah, inshallah, make us of the musallin, inshallah. May Allah bless the soul of this dear marhum muwahideen, inshallah. May Allah give patience to his family members and his dear friends, inshallah. May Allah have rahmah on your family members. May Allah grant you your hawa'ij and du'as that you have. May Allah forgive our sins. May Allah, inshallah, give him himself and lidha of munajat and the ability to talk to him, the sweetness of talking to him, inshallah. And cure all of those that are sick, feed all of those that are poor, give relief to all those that are distressed, and bring back the Imam of the age with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We'll open this up for Q&A before we